Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whereabouts you are in the world and you're watching this video. I want to do this to clear up. Well, first of all, say welcome to all the people who have recently joined this group over the past couple of days, and also thank you for joining, and thank you for the girls who are sharing really cool questions around the issues they're having with lifting weights and technique and things to get started with bodybuilding. It's all really cool stuff, and I like it when you ask questions so I can answer them. So apologies I didn't really dive into too much detail with all of them at the time. I thought, well, the weekend got the better of us, first of all, rushing around, being here, there and everywhere, dropping kids off and all the rest of it. I thought it'd be better just to shoot a video like this, going over all of them questions and covering up some basics around how you can so it's pretty universal, this, because most of the people in this group, when you answer your questions, you all say that you struggle with, like, stepping up the weight too quickly, correct form, correct posture when you're doing weights, lifting too heavy. And then there's specific issues with one of the ladies, which I'm going to touch on here, around more serious problems which prevent you from lifting heavy. And there's bodybuilding and technique and specific body parts like the stomach and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to cover all them bases in this video, but specifically talking about the arms and the stomach and showing you some demonstrations. But they just know that all this stuff I'm talking about here, it applies to every single body part, and it's the universal principles of starting to lift weights, starting to build muscle, starting to tone up and starting to strengthen up, which are, you always start really, really light to begin with. You have to. So as I know a lot of you come into this group and say that, maybe it's like an ego thing, you're too eager to jump the gun and start lift heavier too quickly, or in a rush to lift quickly for whatever reason. And I totally understand that everyone's in a hurry to get results and do well and impress, but especially when it comes to lifting weights, it's important to start light, build your way up and manage that progress. Okay, so that's the universal principle around all of these exercises, every exercise, but I'm going to be talking about the arms and the stomach specifically in this video. One of the girls was talking about she wanted to tone and strengthen and build muscle in the arms because of a serious issue she has. So I wanted to touch on a couple of one, a technique best practice when it comes to lifting weights in general, but especially with the arms, which can help, and how you can sort of get around that, and how it can maybe help you build more strength in the arms and in other body parts. Before I do that, there's a key principle, something which I touched on one of the girls who was talking about the stomach exercises, and she was asking if you can isolate and strengthen just the stomach without other body parts. And the answer is yes, because all muscles work exactly the same. They need enough resistance applied to them progressively, overloaded over time, to make sure it strengthens and builds muscle or muscle tone, however you want to define it. I'm going to use building muscle here, but really it can just imply toning up. And it's the same with fitness. It's the same with a lot of things. Like learning a new language, you need to progressively practice learning that language, practice talking in that language, practice individual words. If you're learning anything, driving a car, you need to progressively learn new skills about driving a car. You need to start with the basics and then progress when that becomes easy, and progress to do more complex things. And it's all done in a structured manner. It's the same with building muscle tone, building strength, building muscle in general, and getting stronger. Even losing weight. Everything is covered under the same principles, and it's the same with this kind of stuff here. So just know that when I'm talking about all this stuff, you can apply this to any body part and weightlifting in general. Okay, so with that particular example, the girl who has the extreme difficulties which are preventing that. By the way, hello Louisa and Caroline, I've just seen you on there. If you have any questions, by the way, you can pop them in. They've got extreme circumstances which are making it harder for them or harder for her, but still there's ways around it. Okay, so when it comes to wanting to tone up the arms at any body part, but what the young girl was mentioning about not being able to go too heavy or go heavy because of the restrictions and bending her back. Same with every other exercise that you're doing, you've got to start really light, so you're minimizing movement in the areas where you don't want it to move. In the arms, for example, what she was referencing was when she was doing the curls, I'll just do curls as an example. Because the weight was so heavy, which I see a lot of people do, when you're doing the curl, just do this, get some leverage on the curl. Because the arm, this part of the arm, isn't strong enough to create that movement without some help and support from the body. So what she said was she then had to drop down to really, really light weights, and what you do to start with. So these are 2 5s, you can even start less. You just start the lowest possible. I can't stress that enough. Start so low to the point where you can do 3, 4 sets, 10 to 12 reps without even blinking. Like, it doesn't bother you. You can't even feel it. Step it up 1 more kilo. When that becomes so easy, you can't even feel it. It's like you're picking up 2 baby dodies or dummies, whatever you call them, wherever you live in the world. Right, so that's how you progress. And that's the progressive overload part. You don't jump into the high bit. You don't jump to the 15 kilo, the 20 kilos. You start from the bottom and you build your way up. Now, you don't have to start as extreme as like what I've just mentioned. That was an extreme example. In her case, she has to start really low because of her back problems and other problems around the body. But start in a position where you can execute the movement without any help in that part. So you're not doing this. You're not creating that sort of movement. You can just stand tall and you can just bend at the elbow and extend at the elbow in that range without moving your other parts of the body. If you can do that comfortably, 2 to 3 sets, 10 to 12 reps, without any help, yeah, you'll still feel it a little bit, but you're not having to really leverage the body much. And this is the same with any other body parts, any other exercises. Then you can start to increase the weight. And I think that could still be the case for you. Sorry, I've forgotten your name. I was just quickly looking through them specific questions. I'll tag you in this afterwards though. That you don't necessarily have to stick with the light weights and work on higher reps, which you mentioned and you posted the arm things because of because of the reason that I mentioned before, that the fundamental rule around building muscle and strength is there has to be progression. So it's not always the case where, you know, it comes to, you see, the broad spectrum of the sets and the reps, you know, it's just a broad thing. It's just like, yeah, it's a general recommendation that if you do 3 sets of 15 reps, that's better for tone. Well, yeah, okay. It's got that's a broad thing. It doesn't necessarily mean that if your goal is to tone, you should go in and do 3 sets of 15 from the start. In fact, you shouldn't. You should start with light weights and progressively try and lift heavier and heavier and heavier. That's how you build muscle, that's how you get stronger, and that's how you tone up. So you can do the same, but you just have to start lower, start slower, start lighter. And your process might be longer, but you can do it. And there's a way around it. You can sit on a seat and do these curls. You mentioned about your back. So you can sit down, give yourself some back support, which will allow you to really focus on the arms more, especially as you get heavier, and not use the body to create that movement. So you can isolate the muscles more and get them working more to get them building muscle and more strength. Remember, to build muscle and strength, there needs to be a constant progression. And I've just realized my battery is running really low, so I want to show you these stomach exercises real quick. When it comes to the stomach, a good one, cable twists for the side of the stomach and even around the front. So she was mentioning about isolating those areas. This is a good one. This is the technique as well. Arms stay out straight. The movement here is through the stomach. So you're squeezing the stomach to create this movement. That's isolating that area, getting those muscles working. And the way you build the muscle in that area, guess what? Look at that. Light as a feather. Okay, that was dead easy for us. 10, 12 reps, 3 sets. This is how you analyze it. No problem, that was easy. I'll knock it up 1 more notch. How about that? Yeah, I sort of feel that a little bit more. Let's see if I can do 3 sets. This doesn't have to be the same session, by the way. If you want to be super conservative, which I suggest a lot of you do, because a lot of you are coming in with the concern of lifting too heavy and correct form and correct posture, don't be afraid to start at the very bottom and build your way up. It's much better to do that. It's a longer process, but sometimes you just got to, just accept that it's going to take longer sometimes. to build, especially when it's this kind of process. You've got to take your time. So you're squeezing the stomach, because what will happen is, if you try and go too heavy, now I'm using the arms to create this movement, and my stomach isn't getting much work at all. It's my arms doing that. So especially with the stomach, you want to start as light as possible. That's the best way to do it. And I'll show you one more for the stomach, a good one. Using the ropes here on the cables, you can get the rope on your head, like this, body up nice and straight, keep your feet flat, and you squeeze the stomach to curl down. And like I said, because all muscles and all body parts, they need to be they need constant progress. You need to apply more resistance to them in order for them to grow. You need to be adding more weight when it is comfortable and ready to do so. So using the cables is a great way to target just the stomach, which was your question, by using the rope curls to add some weight to the sit-ups and the cable twist as well. I'm going to have to end it there before the laptop goes. I'll elaborate on more on this as the week goes on. Have a great day. I hope that helped you. Take care.